You love a challenge, don't you?
Yeah, always.
You always have. I remember the day you were hired, you were here, I spoke to you about the time when you were in Clairefontaine and then you signed for a teenager for Monaco and
Yeah.
everybody was having a go at you and you challenged yourself and proved them. You went, you went there on the wing in Juventus, you went to Arsenal and Bergkamp's there and Schuka's there and Kanu's there, where you're playing, and Barcelona. You overcame those challenges. Everyone wants to talk to Thierry Henry, the legendary goal scorer and all the success, but the challenge, does that make it even more impactful that you came over those challenges?
But that's the way it is. People don't tend to remember how you made it. They see the end product, and sometimes because people ask you a question, you go back to how it happened and in a small scale, right? Because you can't go and tell the whole story. But yeah, obviously you're going to get challenged. People don't give you anything, but whether you're going to be a coach now, people are not going to give you anything. You have to show that you can. You have to show your team that you can be. You have to show everyone that you can be. That's always the way it was. You have to show yourself that you can also. I mean, that's one of the first things. The biggest debate that we all have is usually with yourself. Mm-hmm. The argument that you have is with yourself first. It should be with yourself. The first discussion that you should have, it should be with yourself. And then you go and talk to others. You need to be able to analyze yourself and understand who you are in order to understand, for me to understand you or someone else in the team and what they are. You need to understand yourself first. And so that's something I've always done. I'm really critical of myself, as it should be, I think. So that's why I always, I demand a lot from others, because I demand a lot from myself.
Watching you and throughout your career and listening to you and reading a lot about you, that's what came through for me, the demanding of yourself, holding yourself to that high. Is that something that came from your father from a little boy?
It is, and the game comes and bites you and slap you in your face if you don't. So I had that from my dad, in all fairness, but also the game, and whoever is involved in the game will let you know when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And so you have to challenge your brain and yourself every single day in order for you to be on your toes, right? Because you can't relax. If you relax, someone's going to go in front of you, you open the door, and then next thing you know, you're not playing anymore because that guy is in front of you. By the time you go back, you can't play. The game will, if you don't do what you're supposed to do in order to be successful and stay there, then the game doesn't wait for nobody, So yeah, that's the way I was. That's the way I always going to be. As a coach, you talk about it and you spread that around in the dressing room a different way than when you were a player. Don't get me wrong, right? As a player, you don't have to question anything. You say it as it is, because it is what it is. But as a coach, you can't do that. But it's the same process, though.
And as a coach, the life is a little different, isn't it? Because players, for lack of a better term, care about themselves, don't they? They don't care necessarily about you.
They should.
Yeah.
They should at the end of the very day. Like I said so many times, I said it, I'm not afraid of saying it. I didn't care about my coach. I cared about what he could do for me, what he could do for the team, but I never cared about him. I never went to see my coach and said to him, "How are you?"
No.
Then you don't go and see the man and say, "How are you, coach?"
So how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right, but the players don't ask me. No, I'm joking aside. No,
yeah, of course.
Being honest, you just don't.
Yeah.
Fans don't care about the coach. Press do not care about the coach. Players do not care about the coach. They want to know why they didn't play. They want to know why the tactic wasn't right. They want to know why it's boring the way they whatever. But you don't really want to know about the human being that the coach can be. Right? And that's the way it is. You accept it, and that's how it is. As a coach, you deal with everyone's problem, right? And that's how it is. You have to solve them, and that's it. Not so much people wants to know about yours, but that's the way it is. You have to take it on the chin and carry on.
So what about modern day football, Thierry? What do you see now in terms of, you play at the highest level, you won everything. Where do you think it is going tactically in terms of the modern day game?
It's very different, because something that I always say, and I will say it again, my parents educated me, my kids are re-educating me. The football that I played educated me a certain way. The players right now and the new football are already re-educating me on stuff that I thought they were set in stone. If you arrive late in training back in the days, you knew before you arrive you're not playing on the weekend. Now, if you do that, you have the player union is going to say, "Hey, you're not allowed to do this. Hey," so you need to learn all the new rules to make sure that you cannot upset the players. Because you have new rules. Back in the days, There's no such a thing. Nobody was going to explain to you why you're not playing. You know why you're not playing. And if you don't, figure it out. Nowadays, you can't do that. So that's what I said to you. I've been educated a certain way. The new football and my players now are re-educating me in what football is, and you have to adapt to that.
To be honest, Thierry, someone who's been in the game for 20 years, I often use you as a reference. When I see a number 9 who's making the wrong run into the penalty box or something and is blaming his playmaker and things, like, you never really did that. You looked at it from their side of things, did you not? Like,
well,
did you change your way of thinking?
I did at the beginning.
Talk me through that.
I did at the beginning. I won't lie. We like to complain, strikers. Like the midfielders will tell you the strikers don't move. We'll tell you that they don't see us. Same thing. And then the defenders will tell you those guys don't like to come back. And the goalkeepers are like, you leave me alone anyway. We all have an excuse all the time. And then Arsene told me to ask myself the right question, right? And so I started to think about who I was playing with.
Right.
You know, instead of saying, oh, he doesn't give me the ball, I was like, what can I do for him to give me the ball? So I started to move in function of who had the ball. Dennis Bergkamp, you move anywhere you want, because he will see you. Freddie couldn't see you like Dennis, so you had to make sure that you were going to be on where he was going to dribble. Where he's dribbling, that's where his eyes were going to be, so you need to be in that channel. When Robert had the ball, he likes to play short, so I was dropping because Robert likes to play short, although he could play long, but he likes to play short first and foremost. So I started to move in function of who had the ball, and instead of at the end of the game, oh, they never give me the ball, I moved. I said, but did you move the right way with that guy? Did you move the right way with that guy? And so I started to think about how I can move for others and how I can help them. And I was still complaining anyway.
But your eyes widen when you talk about Arsene Wenger because he made you see the game a little differently. What would it mean to Thierry Henry in 2 decades for you to hear players talk that about you, and what an opportunity you have now?
Yes, this is I think for me the best of the best, because people value coaches on titles as it should be. Don't get me wrong. I value coaches on how the coach made me improve. What it taught me, how it developed my brain, and on the same thing, how do I play better now because I was with him? Do I play better? Then obviously if we win titles, without saying you don't win titles, you might get a sack or whatever. That's how the world is. I get it, but I value a coach that made me better.
That's a pleasure to speak to you, Thierry.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
For 2020. And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you soon. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.